Listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust that this will be like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart today. And wherever you receive podcasts, would you please subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, leave a rating and a brief written review. My leadership friend, today I have a question I'd like to ask you. What do you want? What do you really want? What is the driving ambitions and desires of your life? I think it's an imperative question to ask yourself, but even more important to answer. As a leader, what are some of the things that you and I should value, you and I should desire, and you and I should want? I think the first thing that all of us should want as leaders is we should want to get better. Are you getting better? I'm not talking about, I don't want you to bother with trying to be better than your friends or your contemporaries or the people that you followed in the position you now hold. I'm asking you, try to be better than who you are today. Try to get better. There are a lot of things in life we have zero control over, or many other things that we have minimal control over. But there's one thing that we have a lot of control, a supermajority of control, and that is ourselves. Getting better, holding ourselves accountable. Don't rest, don't coast. Far too many leaders are coasting today on their reputation of what they did way back in yesteryear, and they're not growing, they're not staying on the cutting edge, they're not listening, they're not stretching themselves, they're not pushing themselves along, and they are finding that their leadership ability is at best becoming stagnant and may, in fact, if they don't improve, become obsolete. You really should desire today, my leadership friend, to get better. A second thing that you should want to do, that you should want, is you should want to make good decisions. Now, how do you make good decisions? My favorite thing to say on that is, I have learned to make good decisions because early on I have made so many bad decisions. No greater school taskmaster than wrong decisions. I may be the only person that does this, and this may tell you that I am at times a little morbidly introspective. But every once in a while when I'm reflecting on life, I'll think of some things that I said in the past and I just cringe. I think of some past decisions that I made and I think to myself, what in the world were you thinking, Ron? So the thing is, if you want to make good decisions, hurry up and make some bad decisions. Well, the reality is there are ways to make good decisions. Depending on what the subject is, seriously, you can learn from your past mistakes of perhaps blind spots that you had, that you didn't do enough research or due diligence, that you didn't have at hand the proper information. The other thing that really happens, quite frankly, is there are times that when we felt the timeline of making the decision had gone by us, we then found out new information, and rather than tweaking and adjusting, we stuck with the old decision. You make good decisions by getting the proper information, bringing the proper people together, receiving their input, and then you go with the best material and what you believe to be the best decision that you can make. But remember this, not everything that we try and not everything we do works out perfectly. A lot of things fail. It doesn't mean that you're a failure. And there are times when I made bad decisions. I know that people were talking about me. I know I was being heavily criticized. What people call you is one thing. What you answer to is something else. Regardless, people are beginning to try to define you by a decision. They don't really know who you are and what all's at work in your life. They can call you whatever they please to call you, but you answer to who you are and be true to who you are. So what you should not only want to get better, you should also desire very much to make good decisions. Another thing as a leader that you should want to hold yourself responsible. Don't place blame, take responsibility. Oftentimes when I'm in a very tense meeting and everyone wants to blame people, and obviously there are times when there are obvious culprits, it's just painfully obvious who made some poor decisions. But my leadership maxim on that is a leader does not place blame, but accepts responsibility. There are many people that when they get a new position, they blame their predecessor. Everything that happened was his or her fault. Well, just remember, somebody will more than likely follow you. That is a cheap shot artist, not a leader. A leader never stands around and blames everyone. A leader says, here are the facts. We may not like them. Here is the dire situation and circumstance in which we find ourselves today, and it's not pleasant, and it's not where we all would have chosen. But here we are. This is reality. We're going to take responsibility. We're going to fix what we can fix. We're going to change what we can change, and we're going to move in a positive, forward direction. You have to hold yourself responsible. You have to hold yourself responsible as a leader, even at times when the situation at hand is something that you had very little, if anything, to do with, but you're responsible to see that it's corrected, to see that you and the organization are able to get through it and move forward. Another thing you should want as a leader is you should want to make connections. At the end of the day, you will look back and reflect on decisions made, things that you started, perhaps even things you stopped. But one of the things that you will take the greatest joy from are the people you connected to, the people you connected with, the people you mentored, the people who helped you, the people you helped to say, I see something in you, even when they could not and did not see it in themselves. You can say, I see you have great potential. Make those connections. Pause long enough in life to say please and thank you. One of the things that I'm noticing is appreciation and gratitude toward others seems to be, we all are very quickly, it seems, ready to criticize and pounce and call names and call out. But I would just challenge you to find 2 or 3 people every day and send them a note, send them an email, send them a text expressing your, now I don't mean making it up and I don't mean being manipulative, but it'll change you when you begin to express appreciation and gratitude, and it will help you to make connections with people. You never know that one of the people you're writing to or sending a note to could be going through a really difficult spot. And that may be a lifeline, the kind words you shared with them that day. I think as a leader, there may be a lot of things you want, but one of the more important is you should want to make connections. The 5th thing that you should want is remember you're responsible for your attitude. There's only one corner of the universe you can be certain of improving, and that is your own self. We cannot control what happens to us. We can't control what other people say and do, and all of us will be let down, and yes, all of us at times will be disappointed. But you're responsible for how you react. Be a responder, not a reactor. Get control of your own attitude. I've had a stretch of time a couple of years ago where it seemed like really bad things were happening in our lives, my wife and I. And I read something that said, Quit complaining about what's happened to you and begin to seek and understand if they didn't happen for you. There was one thing that was quite disappointing to me. I was so disappointed, so disillusioned actually. But as I began to reflect on it and move forward, I began to see it didn't happen to me, it happened for me. It wasn't something that I really wanted to do or needed to do. It was not done out of hurt. It really was something that happened for you. Now, there are things I have gone through that I have still searching what the for me was in that circumstance. But you have to do something to quit digging a hole and being depressed and having an eternal pity party. And you have to begin to say, if nothing else, what it does for you is it builds character. Resilient people learn to push past disappointment. Here's one of the most crucial determinants of one's leadership. How do you handle disappointment? How do you handle discouragement? And you can blame everyone else. I've been there, done that, have the t-shirt. But at the end of the day, leader, I'm responsible and you're responsible for your attitude. I think what else you should want and desire as a leader is to communicate. Remember, it's always the leader's responsibility to make sure that there's not only proper communication, but over-communication. And if there's a breakdown somewhere along the line, again, quit blaming others and take responsibility. Find other ways, more effective ways of communicating. Quit casting blame. Seek to be the best communicator. And most of us weren't born automatically knowing how to communicate. It is a learned skill. Another thing that you should want, leader, is you should challenge yourself. You should seek to be the best you that you can be. You should push yourself, so at times there may even be some fear and apprehension as you say, I'm not sure I can do that. I'm not sure I'm up for that task. Keep pushing and challenging yourself. Don't start living for tomorrow. I hear people say, tomorrow I'm going to do this, or someday. My statement on that is someday is not on your calendar. Today is. Don't start living tomorrow and just coast today. Tomorrow is always a day away. Start working on your dreams and your goals today. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to be the best that you can be. The eighth thing that you should want is not only should you challenge yourself as a leader, you need to challenge others around you. You see, excellence is not really a skill as much as it's an attitude. It's an internal commitment that I'm going to be the best me that I can be. That I'm not going to rest and coast. I'm going to continue to seek to improve and to get better and to do a better job tomorrow than I did today, to be a better me tomorrow than I am today. Challenge people. Don't allow people to coast. Don't allow people to just give up, throw their hands up in the air. Challenge them. Are you being the best you that you can be? The last one, ninth, there could be many more things that you want, but let's stop with 9 today, and that is you should want feedback. I find many people in leadership are thin-skinned and are frightened of feedback. They just want everyone to affirm them, everyone to encourage them, everyone to say you are the best you that you can be. But you only learn, you only grow, and you only stretch through feedback. Now, a lot of times if you go to people face to face, they will think about what is it that you want to hear, and that's all they'll tell you. There are times that you need to survey and allow it to be anonymous. Now, sometimes people just like to vent, and sometimes people are absolutely unfair. But if you go in with an open heart and an open mind through feedback, you can really learn a lot of things. So I ask you, my leadership friend, what is it that you really want? You've been listening to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom, words on leadership, goal setting, productivity, and a whole lot more. I trust today this has been like a vitamin or supplement for your mind and heart. And please, wherever you receive podcasts from, would you subscribe to Dr. Ron's Words of Wisdom? Leave a rating and a brief written review. It will help others to find this podcast. Remember, my leadership friend, you are doing better than you think you are. You really are. And until next time, this is Dr. Ron saying, have a great and blessed day.